We have a whole raft of unprecedented wins on climate that are worth celebrating because this is the direct result of electing people who recognize the threat that we're facing. So first off, the Biden administration launched the first publicly funded EV charging station in Ohio, followed shortly thereafter by another one in New York. The White House has said that it will ultimately look to launch 500,000 EV charging stations across the United States, essentially making them ubiquitous in the U.S. Which brings me to the next victory. 1 million EVs are now on the road in the U.S., and the share of EVs being sold is skyrocketing. Electric vehicles are on pace to account for 9% of sales in the US this year, up from about 7% in 2022. And combined sales of hybrid, plug-in hybrid, and battery electric vehicles accounted for over 17% of new light-duty vehicles sold last quarter. In the first 3 quarters of this year, the US has already sold more EVs than in all of 2022. And if you look at states like California, for example, already a third of new vehicles sold are electric, spurred on by new laws set to end the sale of gas-powered cars by 2035. All of this brings us one step closer to ending our reliance on fossil fuels and the countries that supply it. Another major win, ground has been broken on the nation's first high-speed rail, which will travel from Southern California to Las Vegas, cutting that trip in half from 4 hours to 2 hours. And if you've made that trip like I have, it's not fun. The project is expected to be completed in time for LA to host the 2028 Olympics. It'll also bring the US in line with a number of other industrialized countries, all of which boast lightning-fast high-speed rail. The U.S. has also made good on a campaign promise and launched the Climate Corps, a new federal program that looks to employ thousands of young people in the clean energy, conservation, and climate resilience sectors. Already nearly 50,000 people have expressed interest in joining the ACC, effectively ensuring its success moving forward. So from EVs to high-speed rail, this administration is making good on its promise not only to bring the U.S. into the 21st century, but to create jobs and economic growth while doing it. This is what it looks like when a political party values innovation, jobs, and our future, as opposed to donations from oil and gas companies seeking to entrench our reliance on expensive and outdated forms of energy. But just because we're seeing progress doesn't mean we slow down. So with that said, I figure we have time for one more major climate victory in 2023. Here's the deal. Transportation is the largest source of climate pollution in the United States. In fact, transportation is one of the only major sectors where pollution is actually growing. And the biggest source of pollution within that sector? Heavy-duty vehicles like semi-trucks and buses. In fact, pollution from diesel trucks is so bad for our health that areas with heavy truck traffic have been labeled diesel death zones. Those areas are overwhelmingly located in minority and low-income communities where 70% of the cancer risk from air pollution comes from diesel. Clearly, a problem that desperately needs fixing. Right now, the EPA is considering how strong to make rules that would limit the amount of allowable pollution from heavy-duty vehicles, which logic would suggest is a no-brainer. But certain vehicle manufacturers like Volvo and Daimler are lobbying behind the scenes to kill this crucial step by the EPA. And what makes this especially insidious is that those same companies have made public commitments to reduce their pollution for climate and health-based reasons, only to undermine those very efforts behind the scenes as they work to weaken any EPA heavy-duty vehicle standards that would actually force them to live up to their own commitments. That's where we all come in. There's a petition to the EPA calling for the agency to resist pressure from these pro-pollution corporations and lobbyists and to pass strong rules to regulate heavy-duty vehicle pollution. I'll include that link right here on this screen and in the post description of this video and in the comment section below. And let me just say this, it is a testament to the sad state of affairs that even when contending with the existential issue of our lifetime, that we still have to beg and plead for our leaders to resist the pressures from moneyed interests. But because that's where we are, the rest of us are forced to act. So please, take this very small step because together we will have a major impact. That much I can promise you. Big companies want to sell off our health and our planet and our future for a quick buck. Let's make sure they know that we're all paying attention. Before you go, I need some help. Please subscribe to the channel and do your part to help grow the progressive media ecosystem. I don't do sponsorships or paid ads, I won't ask for money, but just subscribing to this channel goes a really long way and it helps get the message out to more people. The subscribe button is right here on the screen. You can also subscribe to my Spanish language channel, which I made to reach those crucial Spanish-speaking voters. That link is on the screen too. And finally, if you want to listen to my audio podcast, you can follow that link as well. Thanks so much for watching.